What's up? How is everyone doing? Happy Monday. What's up, Spirit of the Trees, D-Nice, SMJ, Marloka, Bernadette, Springstorm, Jen Pearson. Jen says she got notified. That's awesome. Bia Stone, Angel, Zero Ortiz, Trixie, what's up? Elfig, Nikki, Nuke the Fridge, what's happening? How's everyone's Monday going so far? Or Tuesday morning, depending on where you're at. Aileen, how's it going? Springstorm saying, been looking forward to this all day. It's the Mondayest Monday ever. Cool. D-Nice is saying, friendly reminder to make sure you allow gifts, as you never know if someone will gift you a membership during the stream. D-Nice saying, going great, having dinner. How's yours? It's good. Trixie saying Tuesday. That's why I added the Tuesday. Nuke the Fridge is saying 25 people in the house. Aileen with the happy Monday. Ms. Red Spear, what's up? Actually, today was a pretty good Monday for me. Didn't seem like a Monday, which is good. Spirit of the Trees enjoyed a BLT for dinner. That's cool. I had, what did I have for dinner? I had a salad, mushroom ravioli with the garlic breadstick. It was good. Nuke the Fridge is asking, am I streaming from Vegas? Yes, I am. I will be streaming at the end of this month when I'm in Vegas on the Strip. And I'm going to talk about, well, my plan was to talk about the haunted history in Vegas, because there are a lot of haunted hotels. Practically almost every hotel on the Strip is haunted. Tara K, what's up? So he's gonna walk down the Strip and talk about the hauntings that have gone on with the particular hotel as I walk by. Let's see if I could do that without Google. D-Nice is saying I'm having kare. It's a Filipino dish of meat or veggie dish with peanut sauce. Cool. What's up, Lorraine? Angel saying you should check out the Haunted Museum. I may this time around, depending on if I could get into CinemaCon or not. If I don't, I'm probably going to check out the museum on one of the days. I'm going to go by myself. I don't care. Maybe I'll see Zach while I'm there. That'd be kind of cool if I'll go and Zach Bagans is there. Oh, yeah. But I may go by myself, and I'll definitely do the VIP tour. I think it takes you, the only difference that's different between the general and the VIP is it takes you to the basement where the stairs, I think the stairs from the demon house, I don't know if you heard of that documentary, is there. And then they have the Dybbuk box. Zero teasers, are you going to stop by Zach Bagan? I may, depending on if I get into CinemaCon or not. I was thinking about that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I'm going to go by myself, and I don't care. I'll face those spirits. It's actually something I've been wanting to do for some quite time. Bernadette saying I did that RIP tour. Yeah, that's it. RIP tour. Nikki's asking, have you checked out Picnic Table 19 yet? No, I haven't been to Griffith Park. So the next time I'm there, I'm going to check it out. I know of it, I just haven't been to it yet. And I'll be in Vegas. When am I going to be in Vegas? Hold on. I know it's the end of this month, but I'll be in Vegas from the 24th to the 27th. But for sure, I am going to be streaming live there. Alright guys, the plan for today. Alicia Hiker, how's it going? Angel saying if I go to the museum, you have to take some pics if they allowed. They only let you take pictures, I think, on the outside and in the waiting room. When you go in the museum, you can't take any pictures or video or anything. Bernadette's asking if I'm going to look into Peggy's eyes. I don't know about that one, because I want to make it home safe. I'm going to respect Peggy. That's the only problem with the museum. You can't really record in there unless you get permission. Because I know one guy got in there and he got to film. Priscilla's like, if you want some stories of the Luxor, I could tell them to you. Cool. Oh, Zero Ortiz is like, tell him if you you have fans, me and my son. D Nice is like, I want to go to Vegas for the Sick New World Festival in May. It's sold out. Oh, I know. That's like a crazy lineup for rock music. Well, actually, no, it's all the bands I grew up with. Like Korn. I think it's on, May 13th? I'm going to be in Vegas the weekend after that for EDC Las Vegas. Nuke the Fridge is saying Vegas is going to be amazing. It's definitely going to be. Michaelin, how's it going? Alright guys, I am going to start off with ghosts in the news. Where I Google ghost in the news and see what pops up. Let me pull it up on my end so I could see this. Alright, this is from The Mirror. I heard it's a tabloid site. in the UK, I believe. So I'm not sure how, but it sounded interesting. It's a saying haunted hotel where people scratched and bitten by ghosts, smells of cigars and lavender. And it's in the Baker Hotel and Spa, lies just outside Mineral Wells, Texas. Having opened in 1929, it went through many iterations before closing its doors in 1972. But now there are plans to restore the building. And this is the Mirror. And this is written by Fiona Lejman. And it came out yesterday. It was published yesterday. Across the United States, there lies a myriad of abandoned and haunted locations. From tuberculosis sanatoriums to former hotels and hospitals, many of these places remain home to some residents not quite yet ready to move on. One such location is a former hotel in Mineral Wells, Texas, which is now undergoing renovations in the hopes to reopen. However, during its time lying empty, many paranormal investigator visited and had some shocking experiences. Have any of you guys heard of this abandoned, I guess, hotel? Or hotel in Mineral Wells, Texas? I've never heard of it. Spirit of the trees is saying, ooh, creepy. The main attraction, which drew people to the hotel, including the likes of Bonnie and Clyde, the Three Stooges, and Judy Garland, was what was believed to be a magical health secret lying underground. The area is home to mineral-rich water, which was dubbed crazy water after a woman apparently cured her mental illness by consuming it regularly. People in the 1800s would travel from across the country to experience the healing powers of the water. They believed it could cure anything from dementia to physical illness. I guess this is what it looks like inside, and they're renovating it. The Baker Hotel was built in 1926 for a cost of $1.2 million, opening in 1929. The 14-floor hotel consisted of 450 rooms, a lavish pool, and spa, which were filled with the mineral-rich water, which drew people to the area. So if it's saying it has 14 floors, that means it definitely has a 13th floor. That's cool. When I can find a hotel with the 13th floor, I take a picture of it, because it's very rare. However, it faced many difficulties, including bankruptcy in 1932 following the stock market crash. The hotel, though, was saved by new owners who kept it alive for several more years. And there's a typo. Come on, people. During World War II, it changed hands once again, becoming a military dependence quarter from 1941 to 1944. The space finally reopened as a hotel in 1963, remaining in operation until 1972 and having been closed since then. I guess this is the mineral water pool. That'd be kind of cool to swim in. Today, paranormal investigators and ghost enthusiasts still visit the location 51 miles west of Mineral Wells, encountering some spooky former residents. The hotel is said to be occupied by the spirits of people who were sick and came to the hotel in hopes the mineral water would help them, but ended up dying anyway. People have reported being poked, scratched, and bitten, and ghostly smells associated with the spirits linger where they are often encountered. One of the most famous residents' ghosts is T.D. Baker himself, who built the hotel, along with his mistress. He's believed to haunt the Baker suite found on floor 11. So I guess this is what it looked like. It doesn't give me a date. Zero Ortiz is to check all the hotels that you go to and see if they have a 13. I do. Nuke the fridge is saying I feel like I owe someone money here. Tara casing, I never heard of it, but it sounds interesting to look into. Spirit of the Trees thinks she heard of it. She has heard of it. I've never heard of it. It said he died in his suite and now roams the hallways of the masterpiece he built endlessly. He is believed to be such a strong presence that tour guides offering ghost walks will, in fact, always knock on the doors of the Baker suite before entering in an effort to not anger the ghost of T.D. Baker. I would just barge in. Who cares? Make them angry. No, I'm just kidding. One of the most peculiar hauntings is not apparition seen in the corner of someone's eye or a disembodied voice, but a scent. Witnesses have said the entire 11th floor smells like cigar smoke, with T.D. Baker having enjoyed smoking cigars in his life, leading many to link the smell to him. Along with Baker, it's said his mistress still roams the hotel, where she was kept by Baker on the 7th floor. That sounds like, the way they wrote that, they sound like she was imprisoned on the 7th floor. Because it was like she was kept on the 7th floor. The story is that she jumped from the window of the 7th floor, falling to her death. And I guess this is what it looks like now. And it says the new owners hope the hotel will once again be known as a premier resort destination. Some say she jumped because the affair simply became too much for her, though the true reason is still unknown. Along with the smell of cigar smoke, countless witnesses have reported smelling a lavender perfume. An apparition of her has also been spotted, with red hair, piercing green eyes, and the unmistakable lavender perfume. People are sure they're seeing the mistress. A maid of the hotel even found broken glass scattered across the room on the 7th floor, stained with the same shade of red lipstick that the mistress ghost had been seen wearing. Ooh. But she doesn't confine herself to the 7th floor, or to just sights and scents. People also apparently hear the mistress roaming the different floors in her high heels, and have even reported she will poke and touch male guests she takes a shining to. Owner, Kathy Stitz, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I'm butchering her last name, sorry, Kathy, told the Texas Bucket List of the Ghosts that it's their world, I'm just living in it. She said some spirits will do things that are harmful because they're seeking attention. They need help, and you're not paying attention to them, and that's the only way they can get our attention is by throwing things and scratching and biting. I don't know if I would want to be bit by a ghost. Kind of crazy. And then that's what makes you say, hey, what's going on? And you stop in your tracks and you try to communicate. What can I do to help you? Then there are some that are just angry that they've suffered a traumatic life. They're trapped. They're angry. They're in misery. They don't want to be there, or if they don't want you in their home. They don't like you. They don't want you in their space. They want you to get out. It's not just former residents and their lovers who are said to haunt the hotel. One of the most gruesome stories associated with the property is that of a young bellhop. I'm almost afraid to read more. The story goes that he was in an elevator accident in the 50s, which, whoa. People have seen his apparition, but only the top half of his body. There are historical records which have confirmed the death of the elevator boy, matching a description of the legless ghost seen haunting the hotel. Local medium have said he's one of the few spirits who communicates with them for help. And that most of the spirits who haunt the hotel do not, in fact, want to be helped. With renovation work now underway, maybe some of the spirits will move on and be at peace. Or, who knows, maybe it will just agitate them more. Ooh, what do you guys think of this one? Angel saying, and I've heard that renovations can really stir up hauntings. Tara K saying the people working in it to rebuild it should have some good stories. I'm pretty sure. Miss Kim, how's it going? Tarana saying, wow, that's crazy. Bernadette, how does a ghost bite you? I thought that was a vampire. Nuke the Fridge is saying, don't forget to tip Lisa today, guys. Spirit of the Trees is saying, super creepy, no matter how much I've heard before. It looks like a cool place, even if they're renovating it. I'd go there after the renovations are. But it looks super cool. Zero Ortiz is saying maybe pushed. I don't know, maybe. No, I haven't talked about it yet, Miss Kim. That's gonna be next. No, it looks like a super cool place. Well, isn't mineral water like super good for you? Like to swim in? Nuke the Fridge is saying dang Mar. Okay. Wait a minute, did I miss something? I missed something. Hold on. Mar! Thank you for gifting 5 Graysonreport memberships. You're awesome. Heart for Mar. Brandon, thank you for the super chat. I was looking on the different screen. Sorry, guys. He's saying, love all the spookiness. Thank you. Miss Kim is saying, yes, but does depends on the minerals. Bernadette saying it's considered healing water. Spirit of the Trees is saying 34 watching, only 2 likes. What's up with that? And then Nuke the Fridge texted me that I didn't think Brandon, but I did. Miss Kim, welcome to the Wolf Pack. Hearts for Miss Kim, everyone. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys. Alright, guys. I am going to go... Except I can't show it on my screen because the article decided to go all black. So I'm going to read it from my phone. About the Ouija board. Because I don't know why the background decided to go all black and you can't see the writing. So, Miss Kim saying my maiden name is Wolf. Oh, that's cool. Tara K saying I saw it online and it said the water heals. Okay, this article is from the Smithsonian Magazine. And it's called The Strange... Hold on, guys. Thank you, Bernadette, for the $40 PayPal donation. She shows ghost emojis and hearts. Thank you, Bernadette. Hearts in the chat for Bernadette. Thank you, girl. You're awesome. Nuke the Fridge is saying it's a curse. It might be. They didn't want me to talk about the Ouija board. And it's funny, all the other articles came up white, like with a white background, like this. But on my computer, it doesn't come out with the white background. It comes out with the dark background. So this is called The Strange and Mysterious History of the Ouija Board. Tool of the Devil, Harmless Family Game, or Fascinating Glimpse into the Non-Conscious Mind. Written by Linda Rodriguez McRobbie. And it's kind of an old article. October 27th, 2013. But I felt like it was a more articulate articles than some of the other ones that they had there. The makers of the first talking board asked the board what they should call it. The name Ouija came through, and when they asked what that meant, the board replied, "Good luck." In February 1891, the first few advertisements started appearing in papers. Ouija, the wonderful talking board, boomed a Pittsburgh toy and novelty shop describing a magical device that answered questions about the past, present, and future with marvelous accuracy and promised never-failing amusement and recreation for all the classes. A link between the known and unknown, the material and immaterial. Whoa, that really does sound like an old advertisement. They'll be like, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. No, I'm just kidding. Another advertisement in a New York newspaper declared it interesting and mysterious and testified as proof as S proven at patent office before it was allowed. Price was $1.50. Miss Kim is like, kind of weird. I don't mess with Ouija boards. Spirit of the Trees, I do not like the Ouija board. Been there, done that. Ain't happening again. This mysterious talking board was basically what's sold in board game aisles today. A flat board with the letters of the alphabet arrayed in two semicircles above the numbers 0 through 9. The words yes and no in the uppermost corners, and goodbye at the bottom, accompanied by a planchette, a teardrop-shaped device, usually with a small window in the body used to maneuver about the board. The idea was that 2 or more people would sit around the board, place their fingertips on the planchette, pose a question, and watch dumbfounded as the planchette moved from letter to letter, spelling out the answers seemingly of its own accord. The biggest difference is in the materials. The board is now usually cardboard rather than wood, and the planchette is plastic. Because Hasbro came out with one and actually have that one. It's in my closet. Rochelle, how's it going? Though truth in advertising is hard to come by, especially in products from the 19th century, the Ouija board was interesting and mysterious. It actually had been proven to work at the patent office before its patent was allowed to proceed, and today, even psychologists believe that it may offer a link between the known and the unknown. The real history of the Ouija board is just about as mysterious as how the game works, and they put game in quotes. Ouija historian Robert Murch has been researching the story of the board since 1992. When he started his research, he says no one really knew anything about its origins, which struck him as odd. For such an iconic thing that strikes both fear and wonder in American culture, how can no one know where it came from? Daisy, how's it going? Someone mentioned a pendulum. Yeah, pendulums are like Ouija boards. The Ouija board, in fact, came straight out of the American 19th century obsession with spiritualism, the belief that the dead are able to communicate with the living. Spiritualism, which has been around for years in Europe, hit America hard in 1848 with the sudden prominence of the Fox sisters of upstate New York. The Foxes claimed to receive messages from spirits who rapped on the walls in answers to questions, recreating the feat of channeling in parlors across the state. Aided by the stories about the celebrity sisters and other spiritualists in the new national press, spiritualism reached millions of adherents at its peak in the second half of the 19th century. Spiritualism worked for Americans. It was compatible with Christian dogma, meaning one could hold a séance on Saturday night and have no qualms about going to church the next day. It was an acceptable, even wholesome activity to contact spirits at séances through automatic writings or table-turning parties in which participants would place their hands on a small table and watch it begin to shake and rattle while they all declare that they weren't moving it. The movement also offered solace in an area when the average lifespan was less than 50. Women died in childbirth, people died of disease, and men died in war. Even Mary Todd Lincoln, wife of the venerable president, conducted seances in the White House after their 11-year-old son died of fever in 1862. During the Civil War, spiritualism gained adherents in droves, people desperate to connect with loved ones who'd gone away to war and never came home. Hey, Julie, how's it going? No, I haven't. I haven't heard of Art Bell. I'll have to check it out. Nuke the Fridge is saying, will Daisy be walking with you in Vegas? She can join me. For sure. Bernadette saying, let's do a seance and then go to church tomorrow. I know that when I was reading that, I was like, what? Angel saying the only Ouija board museum is in Salem, Massachusetts. It's pretty cool because they do all the same story. Cool. Christopher saying the show is awesome. Thank you. Okay, then it goes on. It shows a picture. I don't know if you guys can see it. It shows a picture. Wait a minute, Juan. There, I'll try to straighten it up there. Shows a picture of this cool looking Ouija board. Like an actual wooden one, not a cardboard one. It goes on. Communicating with the dead was common. It wasn't seen as bizarre or weird, explains Murch. It's hard to imagine that now. We look at that and think, why are they opening the gates of hell? True. But opening the gates of hell wasn't on anyone's mind when they started the Kennard Novelty Company, the first producers of the Ouija board. In fact, they were mostly looking to open Americans' wallets. As spiritualism had grown in American culture, so too did frustration with how long it took to get any meaningful message out of the spirit, says Brandon Hodge, spiritualism historian. Calling out the alphabet and waiting for a knock at the right letter, for example, was deeply boring. After all, rapid communication with breathing humans at far distances was a possibility. The telegraph had been around for decades. Why shouldn't spirits be as easy to reach? People were desperate for methods of communication that would be quicker, and while several entrepreneurs realized that, it was the Kennard Novelty Company that really nailed it. In 1886, the fledgling Associated Press reported on a new phenomenon taking over the spiritualist camps in Ohio, the talking board. It was, for all intents and purposes, a Ouija board with letters, numbers, and a planchette-like device to point to them. The article went far and wide, but it was Charles Kennard of Baltimore, Maryland, who acted on it. In 1890, he pulled together a group of 4 other investors, including Elijah Bond, a local attorney, and Colonel Washington Bowie, a surveyor, to start the Kennard Novelty Company to exclusively make and market these new talking boards. None of the men were spiritualists, really, but they were all of them keen businessmen, and they'd identified a niche. Or niche. No, niche. Tarek saying the wood ones are nice. Rochelle saying that the game was just that, a game. Brandon saying, I wish I could do a seance with my old self. Tara K is like, now we have AI chat to answer us. Ha! Aaron, how's it going? Zero T's is saying, true, so scary. Don't ever want one in my house. But they didn't have the Ouija board yet. The Kenner talking board lacked a name. Contrary to popular belief, Ouija is not a combination of the French word for yes, oi, and the German ja. Murch says, based on his research, it was Bond's sister-in-law, Helen Peters, who was, Bond said, a strong medium, who supplied the now instantly recognizable handle. Sitting around the table, they asked the board what they should call it. The name Ouija came through, and when they asked what that meant, the board replied, "Good luck." Eerie and cryptic, but for the fact that Peters acknowledged that she was wearing a locket bearing the picture of a woman, the name Ouija above her head. That's the story that emerged from the Ouija founder's letters. It's very possible that the woman in the locket was a famous author and popular women's rights activist, Ouija, whom Peters admired, and that Ouija was just a misreading of that. According to Murch's interviews with the descendants of the Ouija founders and the original Ouija patent file itself, which he's seen, the story of the board's patent request was true. Knowing that if they couldn't prove that the board worked, they wouldn't get their patent, Bond brought the indispensable Peters to the patent office in Washington with him when he filed his application. There, the chief patent officer demanded a demonstration. If the board could accurately spell out his name, which is supposed to be unknown to Bond and Peters, he'd allow the patent application to proceed. They all sat down, communed with the spirits, and the planchette faithfully spelled out the patent officer's name. Whether or not it was mystical spirits or the fact that Bond, as a patent attorney, may have just known the man's name, well, that's unclear, Murch says. But on February 10th, 1891, a white-faced and visibly shaken patent officer awarded Bond a patent for his new toy or game. That is crazy. D-Nice is saying Alexa, Google, and Siri talk to spirits all the time. Tara K saying, so it named itself. Yes, it did. And then they had to prove that it worked. But it kind of chimed in there that one of the guys, being an attorney, probably knew the guy's name before even walking into the office. The first patent offers no explanation as to how the device works, just asserts that it does. The ambiguity and mystery was part of a more or less conscious marketing effort. These were very shrewd businessmen, notes Murch. The less the Kennard Company said about how the board worked, the more mysterious it seemed, and the more people wanted to buy it. Ultimately, it was a moneymaker. They didn't care why people thought it worked. And it was a moneymaker. By 1892, the Kennard Novelty Company went from one factory in Baltimore to two in Baltimore, to two in New York, to two in Chicago, and one in London. And by 1893, Kennard and Bond were out owing to some internal pressures and the old adage about money changing everything. By this time, William Fuld, who gotten in one of the ground floors of the fledgling company as an employee and stockholder, was running the company. Notably, Fuld is not and never claimed to be the inventor of the board, though even his obituary in the New York Times declared him to be. Also notably, Fuld died in 1927 after a freak fall from the roof of his new factory. A factory, he said, the Ouija board told him to build. In 1898, with the blessing of of Colonel Bowie Cole, the majority shareholder and one of only two remaining original investors, he licensed the exclusive rights to make the board. What followed were boom years for Fold and frustration for some of the men who'd been in on the Ouija board from the beginning. Public squabbling over who'd really invented it played out in the pages of the Baltimore Sun, while their rival boards launched and failed. In 1919, Bowie sold the remaining business interests in Ouija to Fold, his protege, for $1. Wow. The board's instant and now, more than 120 years later, prolonged success showed that it had tapped into a weird place in American culture. It was marketed as both mystical oracle and a family entertainment, fun with an element of otherworldly excitement. This meant that it wasn't only spiritualists who bought the board. In fact, the people who disliked the Ouija board the most tended to be spirit mediums, as they just found their job as spiritual middlemen cut out. The Ouija board appealed to people from across a wide spectrum of ages, professions, and education. Mostly, Murch claims, because the Ouija board offered a fun way for people to believe in something. People want to believe. The need to believe that something else is out there is powerful, he says. The thing is one of those things that allows them to express that belief. Matthew, what's going on? Rochelle is saying, what do you all believe it is? Spirits, magnetic fields, simply just energy? Good spirits or dark spirits making it work? Or is it our conscious talking through the board? I'm not sure what it is. Bernadette saying, have you ever heard of the ping ball method? You put a ping ball on top of an upside down cup and rub it on you to get static. Put it back on the cup, then you wait to see if it attaches to a spirit. No, never heard of that. Matthew's saying, I wonder if he must have done something bad to someone prior and the ghost didn't like it. Maybe. Miss Kim is saying, I never knew they had to get a patent. Me neither. So that's crazy. It's quite logical then the board would find its greatest popularity in uncertain times when people hold fast to belief and look for answers from just about anywhere, especially cheap do-it-yourself oracles. The 1910s and 20s were the devastations of World War I, and the manic years of the Jazz Age and Prohibition witnessed a surge in Ouija popularity. It was so normal that in May of 1920, Norman Rockwell, illustrator of blissful 20th century domesticity, depicted a man and a woman, a Ouija board on their knees, communicating with the beyond on the cover of the Saturday Evening Post. During the Great Depression, the Fold Company opened new factories to meet demand for the boards. Over 5 months in 1944, a single New York department store sold 50,000 of them. In 1967, the year after Parker Brothers bought the game from the Fold Company, 2 million boards were sold, outselling Monopoly. That same year saw more American troops in Vietnam, the counterculture Summer of Love in San Francisco, and race riots in Newark, Detroit, Minneapolis, and Milwaukee. Bernadette saying that pinball method or ping pong ball method is an old school method. Brandon saying Norman Rockwell was a good artist. Spring Storm is saying my parents found a Ouija board in our attic. I was little, had no clue, and had nightmares of a shadow man at the bottom of the ladder staring at me. Oh, that is scary. That is scary, Spring Storm. Strange Ouija tales also made frequent titillating appearances in American newspapers. In the 20s, National Wire Services reported that would-be crime solvers were turning to their Ouija boards for clues in the mysterious murder of a New York City gambler, Joseph Burton Elwell, much to the frustration of the police. In 1921, the New York Times reported that a Chicago woman being sent to a psychiatric hospital tried to explain to doctors that she wasn't suffering from mania, but that Ouija spirits had told her to leave her mother's dead body in the living room for 15 days before burying her in the backyard. Ooh. In the 30s, newspaper readers thrilled to account of two women in Buffalo, New York, who murdered another woman, supposedly on the encouragement of a Ouija board messages. In 1941, a 23-year-old gas station attendant from New Jersey told the New York Times that he joined the army because the Ouija board told him to. And would you guys join the army if the Ouija board told you to? Or buy a building? That is just crazy, but what this article was saying, it was kind of like normal for people to have one. Nerd Report, what's going on? Alien saying, good night, good people, Wolfpack strong, that's right. Rochelle saying, we bought ours at a yard sale for 75 cents back then, and thinking about it now, oh no, would not do that again. Spring Storm is saying, my childhood home is straight up haunted. Definitely. Trixie's like, hell no. Spirit of the Trees is like, no. Rochelle said might do, might not. In 1958, a Connecticut court decided not to honor the Ouija board will of Mrs. Helen Dopeck, who left only $1,000 to two former servants and an insane $152,000 to Mr. John Gale Forbes, a lucky but bodiless spirit who contacted her via the Ouija board. Really? That is crazy. Tara K saying it made me do it. That sounds like something people today would say. Zero T saying that means they used it and that was the entity that came from it. True, because where are these messages coming from? Miss Kim saying the problem is it's so easy to open something, but they never tell you how to close it. True, because they're not telling you where these answers are coming from. And at the same time, they're not saying the consequences of all these people using the Ouija board. Because obviously, when you use it, you're opening something. And all these people aren't really closing it. So they're probably leaving it open. So that's crazy. Tara K saying last place I lived had a lot of spirits and shadow people. Wow. Ouija boards even offered literacy inspiration. In 1916, Mrs. Pearl Curran made headlines when she began writing poems and stories that she claimed were dictated via Ouija board by the spirit of a 17th century Englishwoman called Patience Worth. The following year, Curran's friend, Emily Grant Hutchins, claimed that her book, Jap Huron, was communicated via Ouija board by the late Samuel Clemens, better known as Mark Twain. Curran earned significant success, Hutchins less, but neither of them achieved the heights that Pulitzer Prize-winning poet James Merrill did. In 1982, his epic Ouija-inspired and dictated poem, The Changing Light at Sandover, won the National Book Critics Circle Award. Merrill, for his part, publicity implied that the Ouija board acted more as a magnifying for his own poetic thoughts, rather than a hotline to the spirits. In 1979, after he wrote Maribel Books of Number, another Ouija creation, he told the New York Review of Books, "If the spirits aren't external, how astonishing the mediums become." Tammy, how's it going? Bernadette saying you're supposed to say only light spirits may join. Introduce yourself and say thank you. This session is closed. Goodbye. Exactly. You have to close it. But I don't think any of these people using these boards did that back then. Rochelle saying my boyfriend's ex told me a story about her family's Ouija board. She and her friends were playing it one night, got freaked out because it was threatening them, so they drove 2 miles away from the house. Wow. Threw it out into a field. Her father found it on the way home and brought it home. Oh my gosh. And he said he found this and it looked like ours. Oh, that is crazy. Rochelle saying, also, I should add, she never told her dad about throwing it. But it found its way back. That is scary. That is super scary. Ouija existed on the periphery of American culture. Perennial, popular, mysterious, interesting, and usually barring the few cases of supposed Ouija-inspired murders, non-threatening. That is, until 1973. In that year, The Exorcist scared the parts off people in theaters, with all that pea soup and head spinning and supposedly based on a true story business. And the implication that 12-year-old Regan was possessed by a demon after playing with a Ouija board by herself changed how people saw the board. It's kind of like Psycho. No one was afraid of showers until that scene. It's a clear line, says Murch, explaining that before the Exorcist film and TV depictions of the Ouija board were usually jokey, hockey, and silly. I Love Lucy, for example, featured a 1951 episode in which Lucy and Ethel host a séance using the Ouija board. But for at least 10 years afterward, it's no joke. The Exorcist actually changed the fabric of pop culture. That's true. I would say that because before, the way they advertised it, they were advertising it like, try this talking board, find mysterious answers to questions, and then The Exorcist showed this completely crazy, different side. Tara K saying that is weird how it found its way back. Yes, it is. Daisy saying, imagine how many spirits have entered our realm because people didn't know you had to close the portal. Exactly. Miss Kim saying that would be time to burn it. Ms. Red Spears saying, I played with one in childhood and teens, knew nothing about it at the time, gave it to charity one time to get rid of the games. Heather, whatever, how's it going? Bernadette saying, my brother is very scared of ghosts. He was bothered as a kid, so as a good sister I am, I gave him a Ouija board as a Christmas gift. Don't like my brother, by the way. You are so terrible, Bernadette. Zero T's is like, what the hell? Nope, I would be terrified. Spirited Trees. Whoa, that's crazy. The Ouija was a game to many. Yeah, it was. Springstorm saying The Exorcist is such a good movie. It is. Rochelle saying that was probably the most real experience I ever heard about when she told me the story. Yes. Bernadette saying never burn them, it angers them. That's what I heard. Like, you can't really get rid of it. Heather, whatever. Almost overnight, Ouija became a tool of the devil, and for that reason, a tool of horror writers and movie makers. It began popping up in scary movies, usually opening the door to evil spirits hell-bent on ripping apart co-eds. I know a lot of those movies were like that back then. Outside of the theater, the following years saw the Ouija board denounced by religious groups as Satan's preferred method of communication. In 2001, in Alamogordo, New Mexico, it was being burned on bonfires along with copies of Harry Potter and Disney's Snow White. Christian religious groups still remain wary of the board, citing scripture denouncing communication with spirits through mediums. Catholic.com calls the Ouija board far from harmless, and as recently as 2011, 700 Club host Pat Robertson declared that demons can reach us through the board. Even within the paranormal community, Ouija boards enjoy a dodgy reputation, Murch said. That when he first began speaking at paranormal conventions, he was told to leave his antique boards at home because they scared people too much. Parker Brothers and later Hasbro, after they acquired Parker Brothers in 1991, still sold hundreds of thousands of them. But the reason why people were buying them had changed significantly. Ouija boards were spooky rather than spiritual, with a distinct friction of danger. Very true. D Nice is saying, my mom almost pooped her pants because I would try to walk up the stairs like in the movie. It's actually pretty fun. Zero T's is saying, do they burn? I don't think so. Bernadette saying, gift it to someone you don't like I did. Susan, how's it going? Rochelle saying, when my mom was young and went to the movie theater to watch Exorcist when it first came out on the big screen, a whole bunch of priests were outside of the movie preaching, praying, warding evil. That is crazy. In recent years, Ouija is popular yet again, driven in parts by economic uncertainty and the board's usefulness as a plot device. The hugely popular Paranormal Activity 1 and 2 both featured a Ouija board. It popped up in episodes of Breaking Bad, Castle, Rizzoli Isles, and multiple paranormal reality TV programs. Hot Topic, mall favorite of gothy teens, sells a set of Ouija board bras and underwear. And for those wishing to communicate with the beyond while on the go, there's an app. Or 20 for that. This year, Hasbro released a more mystical version of the game, replacing its old glow-in-the-dark version. For purists, Hasbro also licensed the rights to make a classic version to another company. In 2012, rumors that Universal was in talks to make a film based on the game Abandoned, although Hasbro refused to comment on that or anything else for that story. But the real question, the one everyone wants to know, is how do Ouija boards work? Miss Kim saying I saw it in 77 on cable when I was 8. It gave me a healthy respect for demons and such. I've been pretty good about staying away from it. Bernadette saying my brother had nightmares from The Sixth Sense. I was just confused that was Donnie Wahlberg. That movie's freaky. The Sixth Sense. I gotta revisit that one. That one kind of makes you want to go underneath the covers. Zero tease the sound. Yes, they're dangerous. Ouija boards are not, scientists say, powered by spirits or even demons. Disappointing, but also potentially useful because they're powered by us. Even when we protest that we're not doing it, we swear. Ouija boards work on a principle known to those studying the mind for more than 160 years. The ideometer effect? In 1852, physician and psychologist William Benjamin Carpenter published a report for the Royal Institution of Great Britain examining these automatic muscular movements that take place without the conscious will or volition of the individual. Think crying in reaction to a sad film, for example. Almost immediately, other researchers saw applications of the ideometer effect in the popular spiritualist pastimes. In 1853, chemist and psychic, or it's not psychic, it's physics. Michael Faraday, intrigued by table turning, conducted a series of experiences. That's going to bug me. Physicist. There it is. Table turning conducted a series of experiments that proved to him, though not to most spiritualists, that the table's motion was due to the ideomotor actions of the participants. Chantilly, how's it going? Brandon saying the last freaky movie I saw was Hereditary. Think the last one I saw was Megan. Julia, how's it going? Heather, whatever, I was conscious of it, I pushed it. Zero Ortiz saying a new scary movie is coming soon. It's like The Exorcist. I know, I think an Evil Dead movie's coming out this month. So it's saying the effect is very convincing, as Dr. Chris French, professor of psychology and animalistic psychology. That's like double. Professor of psychology and anomalistic psychology at Goldsmiths University of London explains it can generate a very strong impression that the movement is being caused by some outside agency, but it's not. Other devices, such as dowsing rods, or more recently, the fake bomb detection kits that deceive scores of international governments and armed services, work on the same principles of non-conscious movement. The thing about all these mechanisms we're talking about, dowsing rods, Ouija boards, pendulums, these small tables, they're all devices whereby quite a small muscular movement can cause quite a large effect, he says. Planchettes, in particular, are well suited for their task. Many used to be constructed of a lightweight wooden board and fitted with small casters to help them move more smoothly and freely. Now, they're usually plastic and have felt feet, which also help it slide over the board easily. No, there's a new Evil Dead, Daisy. Spirit of the Trees is saying I have dowsing rods. They're pure copper. Spring Storm saying the last scary movie I saw was The Vigil. Be a Stone saying I like The Others. Daisy seen Scream 6. I still have to see that one. Chantilly's asking if we watching spooky clips tonight too. Let me see if I can conjure some up after I've finished talking about the Ouija board. Brandon saying I was at least 5 and got introduced to The Exorcist, Faces of Death, and the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Need to catch up on horror genre. Then it goes on, and with Ouija boards, you've got the whole social context. It's usually a group of people, and everyone has a slight influence. French notes. With Ouija, not only does the individual give up some conscious control to participate, so it can't be me, people think, but also in a group, no one person can take credit for the planchette movement, making it seem like the answers must be coming from an otherworldly source. Moreover, in more situations, there's an expectation or suggestion that the board is somehow mystical or magical. Once the idea has been implanted there's almost a readiness to happen. But if Ouija boards can't give us answers from beyond the veil, what can they tell us? Quite a lot, actually. Researchers Wow, Chantilly, I'm glad you're safe. And thank you for joining me. Or joining us, I should say. Bernadette saying, I think I know what the next scary movie is going to be. Barbie? Yes, definitely. I didn't even watch that trailer. I avoided it. For sure. Daisy saying the new Evil Dead's not out till the 21st. I knew it was soon, I just didn't know when. Chantilly saying I had a Ouija board at 10 years old. D Nice is saying check Instagram. Hold on here. Oh, hold on. I don't want to get killed by that. Oh, oh, that's cool, D Nice. She sent a picture of her dowsing rods. That's pretty cool. Zero T's is saying the Pope's exorcist with Russell Crowe as the priest. Oh, that sounds cool. true, Chantilly. So it continues. Researchers at the University of British Columbia Visual Cognition Lab think the board may be a good way to examine how the mind processes information on various levels. The idea that the mind has multiple levels of information processing is by no means a new one, although exactly what to call those levels remains up for debate. Conscious, unconscious, subconscious, preconscious, zombie mind are all terms that they have been or are currently used, and all have their supporters and detractors. For the purpose of the discussion, we'll refer to conscious as those thoughts you're basically aware that you're having. I'm reading this fascinating article, for example, and non-conscious as the automatic pilot type thoughts. Blink, blink. Chantilly saying my much older sister thought it was a good gift for my birthday. Not sure where it ended up though. Ah. Matthew saying I didn't watch the Barbie trailer, but I did use the Barbie AI image maker. Cool. You can upload a picture with a Barbie background. I don't know. I've been seeing those. I haven't even tried it. Zero T's is saying we are all creeped out. Bernadette. Julie's saying we live in a very creepy, messed up world. That is true. Super true. 2 years ago, Dr. Ron Resnick, professor of psychology and computer science, psychological postdoctoral researcher, Helen Gochow, and Dr. Sidney Fields, professor of electrical and computer engineering, began looking at exactly what happens when people sit down to use a Ouija board. Fields says that they got the idea after he hosted a Halloween party with a fortune teller theme and found himself explaining to several foreign students who had never really seen it before how the Ouija board works. They kept asking where to put the batteries, Fields laughed. After offering up a more Halloween-friendly mystical explanation, leaving out the ideomotor effect, he left the students to play with the board on their own. When he came back hours later, they were still at it, although by now much more freaked out. A few days post-hangover later, Fields said he, Resnick, and a few others began talking about what is actually going on with the Ouija. The team thought the board could offer a really unique way to examine non-conscious knowledge to determine whether ideomotor action could also express what the non-conscious knows. Delea Lugo, what's up? Spirit of the Trees is saying, I know I'm the geek that always mentions it, but the energy in the chat is next level. Yes, it is. Rochelle is saying evil does not like to face itself. True. Bernadette saying, look up the Crescent Hotel. That's a crazy story. I'll check it out. The Crescent Hotel? Hold on, let me write that down because I'm going to forget. Hold on. I'll write it up here. The Crescent Hotel. Because I will forget. Rochelle is saying, I truly believe that when an evil person is in the courtroom, I believe that a mirror should have to face them, and I truly believe that because no one likes to look at themselves. That's true. When evil, true. Miss Kim is saying, I saw a trailer for a movie where a girl can talk to her dead twin in the mirror. There was no title. Does anyone know the name? I'm trying to think. Does that sound familiar to anyone in the chat? Bernadette, I agree with you. Alright, it continues. It was one of the things that we thought it probably won't work, but if it did work, it'd be really freaking cool, said Resnick. Their initial experience involved a Ouija playing robot. Participants were told that they were playing with a person in another room via teleconferencing. The robot, they were told, mimicked the movements of the other person. In actuality, the robot's movements simply amplified the participants' motions, and the person in the other room was just a ruse, a way to get the participant to think they weren't in control. Participants were asked a series of yes or no, fact-based questions. Is Buenos Aires the capital of Brazil? Were the 2000 Olympic Games held in Sydney? And expected to use the Ouija board to answer. What the team found surprised them. When participants were asked verbally to guess the answers to the best of their ability, they were right about 50% of the time. A typical result for guessing. But when they answered using the board, believing that the answers were coming from someplace else, they answered correctly upwards of 65% of the time. It was so dramatic how much better they did on these questions than if they answered to the best of their ability that they were like, this is just weird. How could they be that much better? Recalls Phils. It was so dramatic we couldn't believe it. The implications was, Phils explained, that one's non-conscious was a lot smarter than anyone knew. The robot, unfortunately, proved too delicate for further experiments, but the researchers were significantly intrigued to pursue further Ouija research. They divined another experiment, this time, rather than a robot, the participant actually played with a real human. At some point, the participant was blindfolded, and the other player, really a Confederate, quietly took their hands off the planchette. This meant that the participant believed he or she wasn't alone, enabling the kind of automatic pilot state of researchers were looking for, but still ensuring that the answers could only come from the participant. Julie Lancey, never have nor will I touch one. Chantilly saying, I think my sister used to make the Ouija board move when we played with it, but was never sure. Spirit of the Trees is saying, sounds very psychological. Julia saying, The Shining was crazy. Yeah, it was. Come play with us, Danny. Goes on. It worked, Resnick says. Some people were complaining about how the other person was moving the planchette around. That was a good sign that we really got this kind of condition that people were convinced that somebody else was there. The results replicated the findings of the experiment with the robot that people knew more when they didn't think they were controlling the answers, 50% accuracy for vocal responses to 65% for Ouija responses. They reported their findings in February 2012 issue of Consciousness and Cognition. You do much better with the Ouija on questions that you really don't think you know, but actually something inside you does know, and the Ouija can help you answer above chance, says Phils. UBC experiments show that the Ouija could be a very useful tool in rigorously investigating non-conscious thought processes. Now that we have some hypothesis in terms of what's going on here, accessing knowledge and cognitive abilities that you don't have conscious awareness of. I need a breath after that one. The Ouija board would be an instrument to actually get at that, Phils explains. Now we could start using it to ask other types of questions. So then it goes on. Those types of questions include how much and what the non-conscious mind knows, how fast it can learn, how it remembers, even how it amuses itself, if it does. This opens up even more avenues of exploration. For example, if there are two or more systems of information processes, which system is more impacted by neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's? If it is impacted, the non-conscious earlier, Resnick hypothesizes, indications of the illness could show up in Ouija manipulation, possibly even more being detected in conscious thoughts. D, nice to see, and all the reason to tip our Lisa for something to lubricate her throat. You know what? That's what I'm going to do right now. And take a breath. Whew. No. For the moment, the researchers are working on locking down their findings in a second study and firming up protocol around using the Ouija as a tool. However, they're running up against a problem. Funding. The classic funding agencies don't want to be associated with this. It seems a bit too out there, said Resnick. All the work they've done to date has been volunteer, with Resnick himself paying for some of the experiment's costs. To get around the issue, they're looking to crowdfund to make up for the gap. Even if they don't succeed, the UBC team has managed to make good on one of the claims of the early Ouija advertisements. The board does offer a link between the known and the unknown, just not the unknown that everyone wanted to believe it was. The end. No. D Nice is like, stay hydrated, my friends. Zero T's is saying, Lisa, you always have interesting story. Love your channel. Just saying thank you. That article really dived into the scientific part of the Ouija board, which I had no idea. Susan Rick is saying Rosemary's Baby is still creepy. Yeah, it is. It's like a psychological kind of horror, in a way. Gene Rick, thank you for the super sticker with the fitness pair and the coffee. Or, well, keeping hydrated. Thank you, Gene Rick. Tyrannus saying, nice hat. You always have cool hats. Thank you. I kind of like that article. What do you guys what did you guys think about that article? Like, it was kind of interesting. Like, I learned more about the history of the Ouija board. Nerd Report saying someone should make a Dalai Lama horror movie. I heard what he did. Heather, whatever. Thank you for the super sticker with the cute hippos. Zero T's is saying anything involving spiritual stuff. My respect, I just stay away. Rochelle saying fitness pair always makes me laugh. Well, it looks like a fitness pair because it's a pair with like a sweat, like a, you know, a headband on it. So I just say fitness pair. Spirit of the Trees is saying it was a cool article. Nice write. I know. It was a good article. Good writer, too, as well. Very informative. B Stone saying didn't know much before. Same here. It's kind of cool to hear the history and how, like, the Ouija board. Bernadette, thank you for the $20 super chat. You're awesome. Wink Shape Burry, the Ouija board was just a game originally. I know, like how they advertised it. It's crazy. Springstorm is like, oh, I'll pass on that one, too graphic for me. And then it really didn't get that evil connotation until The Exorcist came out. Nerd Report saying donation train, choo choo. Julia saying the Dalai Lama was so not okay doing that. Yeah, that is not so cool. Miss Kim saying, you want something scary? Burnt Offerings, 1976. I've never forgotten that movie. I'll have to check that one out. I don't think I've ever seen that one. I didn't even see the clip for that. But that kind of being a spiritual leader and saying that is just kind of not right. Bernadette saying, do you think where they make the Ouija board is haunted? No, unless they actually use it. Because if they use it, then I'd be like, yeah. Nerd Report saying Dalai Lama or the Pope who wins. Heather whatever saying I won't do it. I opened a lot of doors. I closed a lot of doors. I got lucky. Wink Shaftberry says, I don't think the Dalai Lama did wrong. Nerd Report saying, whoever wins, we lose. Delea Lugo saying, I had a Ouija board related experience. Someone who was working at a local music venue had used one to conjure up a dead musician who hated women. He made the female patron sick. I got sick. Oh, that is crazy. Miss Kim saying, no, I think the Ouija board can allow an opening of something that shouldn't be open. Susan Rake saying, so was Rosemary. Rosemary's Baby was just crazy. Have any of you guys actually used a Ouija board? I know some of you said you've had one, but have you actually used it? And did you have any, like, freaky, crazy stuff go on? Heather Whatever saying, evil's not omnipresent, but you don't want to bump into the wrong thing. Very true. Susan saying, what moves the Ouija board? They actually went in that article saying that we have, like, non-conscious movements that move it. Lorraine saying, I tried years ago and never got it to move. Same here. Because I have the Hasbro one, like the board game looking one. And I could never get it to move. So I was like, whatever. Rochelle saying, yes, we asked the lotto numbers and my mom played those numbers. Came in straight. Bernadette saying, yes, in a cemetery, nothing happened. But then again, I do have a spirit attached to me. Daisy never heard of Sick New World? What, Daisy? Come on. It has an epic lineup for people into rock music. Or alternative metal, I guess. Well, they don't call it alternative metal anymore. Delea saying, I had to get someone else to close the door to the spirit world, and he was put back into the spirit world. The employee was confronted. The papal community was involved. Spirit of the Trees is saying, I tried once when I was 12. I don't think anything happened, but the energy was definitely weird. Nerd Report saying, suck my tongue is the most disgusting quote I've ever heard. It is. But then they also say don't keep the planchette on the board. So my planchette is not on my board. In my closet. Wink Shapeberry saying the classic ghost story is that you use one and you got possessed. Chantilly's like, we tried but don't think we had any success. My thing was I just could never get it to move. So I figured I didn't have enough energy to put into it. So I was like, and I put it away and I never used it after that. Spirit of the Tree saying I'm a low-key empath. I get energy like the chat. Cool. And the Dalai Lama's been around. He's an ancient soul. Bernadette saying, I honestly feel some humans are more scary and evil than spirits. They are. Sad to say, they are. Wink Shape Bear saying, just call on Saint Michael if you get possessed. Or cast a circle and make sure you're protected. If you do something crazy like that, make sure you close all the doors too. Julia, how is that humor? I don't see that's humor. That's kind of what the Dalai Lama... Or who told you that, I should say. Julia said, I was told I was a Westerner and didn't understand the humor of the Dalai Lama. I'm sorry, but to me, a grown man should not ask a child. Exactly. Rochelle saying, later in our lifetime, however, because evil seems to be coming out like with celebrities and all these conspiracies, and now the other movement, it just goes to show maybe he has done this before. And Delea saying, don't mess with the Ouija game board from Parker Brothers. People forgot to close the spirit world door. Mine's the Hasbro one, so I have a newer one. Nerdreport saying, please remind people to sub to Nuke the Fridge. So if you guys are into movie news, movie news, subscribe to Nuke the Fridge here on YouTube. Springstorm saying, I am subbed. If you haven't done so already. Delea saying, I lost respect for this Dalai Lama. Well, technically, this Dalai Lama was a reincarnation of a previous Dalai Lama, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, they choose a person because they were reincarnated. If I'm not mistaken. Daisy saying, I kept trying it occasionally, but nothing. I mean, I thought it moved a few times, but it didn't smell any, so I think it was me moving it. Chantilly's like, I would 100% trust all of us here in the chat, Lewis and Lisa, to Ouija board party it up all together at the hotel meetup. Oh my gosh. Bernadette saying Selena Spooky Boo actually collects them and has over 200 Ouija boards, even ones from like the old ones look cool. Nerd Report saying I vote that Lisa should go live on Thursday at 7 p.m. again. D Nice is like reincarnated my they got the wrong entity. Yeah, that's why I totally agree. Rochelle's saying we should meet at Molly Brown's mansion. If you guys are not subscribed to Nuke the Fridge, Daisy dropped the link in the chat. So go over there if you haven't done so already. To see movie talk, interviews, reviews. Miss Kim saying the best quote from Good Omens by Crawley the Demon. There's nothing we could do to humans that they don't do themselves, and they do things we've never even thought of. True. Rochelle saying Denver is a looking of Molly Brown location. Oh, Denver's the location of Molly Brown. Thank you, Rochelle. Chantilly's like, yes. I know Chantilly's been asking me to go on an extra night. Selena Spooky Boo, she's the one that sleepwalks? Is that the one? Am I remembering correctly? That's cool though that she collects old Ouija boards, because I think the older ones look kind of cool. Like the nice wooden ones, not the cheap ones. There, thank you, D Nice. Bernadette saying I've been at the Molly Brown home and the summer home. Nothing ever happens, but it's beautiful. Oh, they reopened tours at the Queen Mary at the beginning of this month. So they have like their regular tour and like a haunted tour. Wink Shapeberry saying I love spooky. Zero T's, I agree with what you're saying. The boy was so happy to hug him, not knowing it was going to be ugly. And now the poor boy is famous for the wrong reasons. But I didn't see the video, guys, so I'm not sure. I just heard about it. Or I haven't had a chance to see the... Bernadette saying, can you stay at the Queen Mary? I don't know if you can stay there now, but I know they just recently opened it. But I'm not sure if you can stay there, because they did a bunch of renovations to the ship because she was kind of falling apart. And I know years ago you could, but I'm not sure now. Bernadette, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Guys, if you haven't had a if you don't have a membership, grab one from Bernadette. Hearts for Bernadette. Wink Shape Berry saying, oh, the Queen Mary, you have to visit. Spirited Trees is asking where it's located. It's located in Long Beach, California. Southern California. I haven't been in years. And I've stayed the night. But it was a long time. Oh, Heather Whatever saying you could stay at the Hotel del Coronado in Coronado or San Diego. There's a ghost lady. I know there's a woman in black that walks the beach looking for long lost love, and I've been wanting to go to that for the longest time. Like when we go to Comic-Con, you could see the hotel across the bay. And I'm like, oh, I want to take the boat over so I can walk on the beach and look for her. Well, no, they said I don't know what hotel or what room in the hotel, but she'll cozy up to you if you're a male. But but it's a beautiful hotel from the outside. Daisy saying that my neighbor tried it and it kept spelling stuff out and he got creeped out and left. Whoa, that's crazy. Heather Whatever saying that's where I grew up. Oh, cool. Welcome to all the new members. Welcome to the Wolf Pack. Springstorm saying I wanted to visit the Bell Witch House and Cave, but I'm a scaredy cat. One day you gotta visit. Rochelle saying I would never stay or go near the Cecil Hotel. I've actually been across the street from the Cecil Hotel. I took a picture of it. And that was a couple years ago. Before it became low income housing. Rochelle saying the Night Stalker disturbed me greatly. I regretfully watched that documentary. I felt it was scarier than Bundy. Yeah, he is. D Nice is like, my dad was in the U.S. Navy. We stayed in Coronado plenty of times. Did you see the Lady in Black? Julia saying you go even close to the Cecil and can feel the negativity. Well, it has an ominous feeling to it. Just standing on the outside. Like, there was no way I was going on the inside. I so wanted to go inside and see the lobby because it has a cool lobby. Or at that time it did. I don't know about now. But I just didn't. Something told me not to go in there. Rochelle saying not good, anything happened, or orbs? No, I didn't go in. D Nice was like I was too sleepy to notice. But the Queen Mary is a cool ship to visit. And with the renovations, I'm pretty sure it looks even better now. Julie's like, exactly, don't go near. I didn't. Like, something told me not to to go across the street and to go in the building. I kind of just stayed on the outside. Spring Storm saying, I do want to go to Loretta Lynn's home. It's not far from me. Go for it. If you guys haven't hit that, smash that like button, please do so when you get a chance. So any last minute question, guys? D Nice is saying, once I get better and I'm able to roam as I used to, I plan on taking a joyride to this Cecil with my rods. Go for it. That sounds fun. Just be careful, because I don't know how that area is not that great. Zero saying we should meet and do a tour of the Cecil Hotel. I don't think they let you in there, because people actually live there. And I don't know what kind of people besides the undead that live there. I don't feel like that would be a safe place to go. Like inside wise. Outside, even outside, it's questionable. Wink Shape Berry's asking, do you think you might do wild camping? Like just go camping? I mean, I think it's been a while since I've gone camping. Bernadette saying, have you seen Dreamcatcher? Yes! That's the one where they would put, chime. Is that the one where they would put chimes on the windows and that would let them know if spirits would come in? If I'm thinking correctly? D-Nice is like, girl, I was in Santine Alley the other day. I ain't scared. Spirit of the Trees is saying, I live in New Orleans. Just about everyone I meet has had a paranormal experience. The whole city of New Orleans is full of experiences, isn't it? Zero T's is like, how are you scared of the Cecil Hotel but not Zach Bagans' Scary Museum? Well, Cecil, I'm more scared of the people, not the undead. The actual living. Because sometimes the living is worse than the dead. Heather, whatever, saying my paranormal was real. I saw Tahoe Tessie, our lake monster. What does the lake monster look like, Heather, whatever? Spirit of the Trees, we all have many stories. Crazy. My first documented experience was in El Salvador. Cool. Wink Shape Berry saying Zach is such a knob. Even that D-Nice, some of the homeless people are brutal. That's what I'm talking about, Zero. I'm more talking about people around there because people can be brutal. Any last minute questions before I end the stream? Bernadette saying, hey, Lisa, Arizona is haunted too. See you there. Definitely. I can't wait. Heather Wetter saying, like, giant humps, but you could see under like a thick hose. The head and the tail were down there. Oh, cool. Super cool. Rochelle's like, very true, Lisa. The living yikes. You never know. Zero T's is saying, thank you, Lisa, for a wonderful, creepy stream. Thank you. Alright, guys. I am going to end the stream there. Thank you for joining me this fabulous Monday morning. Or Monday morning. Oh my god. Morning, evening. And I will see you again. I may make appearance on Thursday. Bernadette, thank you for the super chat. Last minute love. Thank you, girl. You're awesome. Can't wait for Arizona. Springstorm saying, do I go to haunted locations? If so, where? Rochelle, thank you for the cute super sticker with the hippo and the one-up. I have got Springstorm. I went to the Colorado Street Bridge, or the S Bridge, and I hiked underneath. That's the closest of the haunted location I've been to so far, but there's others I do want to go to. Alright, guys. I may make an appearance on Thursday, so stay tuned. But if not, for sure, Saturday at 8 after Lewis, I will see you there. Be there, be squared. Thank you guys for joining me. You guys are awesome.